Hi, and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we did? I am your co-host, question mark, Andrew.
And I am your co-host, Michelle! Exclamation point.
And we have a big announcement today. Perhaps bittersweet for some of you, perhaps bittersweet for us. But I think we talked about already. I'll set the intention this week. And I think my intention is to focus on the sweet more than the bitter at the moment.
Oh, I like that.
So, shall we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get right to it.
So, as you may or may not have noticed, I have not been a very present co-host for the past several episodes. And this is something Mom and I have talked about behind the scenes, and it was intentional, of course, as everything is.
Right, nice. Very nice. I like it. I like what you did there.
But I have been going through a lot of changes in my life. I think I might have mentioned this on the show, but I got a job that is not the sort of job I thought I would have. I thought I would be a teacher, and I had a pretty big realization a few months ago that that was not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So anyway, long story short, even while I was still a teacher, this has been going on. I've been busy and a lot of changes have been happening. And being a consistent co-host of this podcast stopped being something that I was able to commit to. And I don't want to leave Mom. I don't want to leave you hanging, Mom. I don't want to promise anything that I can't be for this show. So I will be a guest host. I'm not going away forever.
Thank goodness.
I will be a guest host from time to time, I'm sure. But I will no longer be the co-host of Hypothetically Intentional, nor the editor, nor the...
Pressure.
You were picking it up real quick already, Mom.
I have a good teacher. My teacher must have had a good teacher. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. So that's the announcement.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for being honest about your time and what you have the capacity for. I want to say thank you for being willing to jump into this with me and for being such an amazing co-host and editor for the time that we did do this on the regular. And I know you're not gone forever. I know you'll be back, and Jake too, for that matter. And I totally get it. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, you're in your 20s. Like, this kind of stuff is typically not priority when you're in your 20s. Like, there are different and other things to do and to focus on that pull your energy, and there's only so much energy you have to go around, and it makes perfect sense. But I'm super grateful that we were able to play, and it's evolved already, right? Like, just where we started and kind of dancing the dance of what may or may not work. And it all worked. It's just like where we went with it was interesting and a fun little journey. And I really appreciate the time we had together on the regular. It was really cool. And I think it's fun to spend that time with you. And like we opened our brains together in new and different ways. And that was really cool and fascinating and delightful for me as a mom.
Yeah. It's really fun to have a different way of hanging out with you. Like, yeah. We play games together, we bake together, we, go out and do stuff together. But just like sitting and talking and that being the activity is not something I feel like more so now than it used to be, but this podcast definitely expanded that a lot for us, I feel like.
Well, Yeah, for sure. And I think the other layer to it that you didn't mention, but that I think is really, it plays a part whether like we actively realize it or not, is that like we're having a conversation that we're willing to let the world listen to. That's like different, like you and
Yeah.
I can sit on the comfy, cozy chairs and have a deep, deep heart to heart without well, like knowing no one else is ever going to hear it or listen to it, where we can go to places that like we don't really want the public to know or talk,
All of
but
our deep, dark
also like
secrets.
oh, I don't even mean it like that. I just mean sometimes it's like this isn't meant for me to share with the world. This is for me to unpack really closely. And you too, right? Like there's just some things where sometimes it's like, yeah, not necessarily meant for the world, but to share the pieces that we chose to. And I'm not saying we're hiding things. I just mean, but like how we chose to show up authentically together and decide to reveal like bits and pieces of our relationship as a mother and a son on a podcast was like super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, pretty scary for me. Like
Yeah, I can see
putting,
that.
like, sh- sharing that sort of thing with the world is, I mean, like, even with strangers, like, or any, like, I don't know. When I am vulnerable, I like it to be in a more secluded environment where I feel
Yeah.
safe. And not that I didn't feel safe in the podcast, but it's different, right? Because it's
Yeah, it's super vulnerable.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think it's amazing. And I honestly, I was a little surprised that you were like, yeah, let's do this. Cause I don't know. I wouldn't have said yes to that in my 20s. There's no way. I would have been like, yeah, hell no, I'm not doing that. Nobody gets to see me that way. But I was busy hiding. And I feel like, you and your brother to me feel like you're actively doing the work to discover and uncover who you are at the core and how you want to show up in the world. And I think that's beautiful. And I don't feel like I had those skills in my 20s. And so I think it's kind of amazing. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
well,
Yeah, I don't know.
I had a good teacher.
Full circle, full circle. That's amazing.
Have a good teacher.
But
Present tense, I suppose.
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, same. I mean, and don't be surprised if you get a phone call about editing, because I'll be like, wait, what? And then I'm gonna feel like the old lady going, wait, I don't understand technology, which isn't meant to be like. I don't mean that in like a diss against the age thing, but it's like I think about my mom, like she worked with a typewriter. Like computer was a new thing and she got it. But like if I were to throw an app in front of her and say, hey, you get to edit this thing, she'd be like, wait, what? Like that's not in my wheelhouse. I don't understand. And I think about that. That actually makes me giggle because that would have been an adventure. Can you imagine?
I still have that video of her in the VR.
Me too.
It is so it's one of my favorite videos that I have on my
so
phone.
good.
It's so good.
Oh, I don't know if I have it on my phone, but I feel like I need it on my phone now.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, because she's just so dang cute. She was just so cute with all of that stuff. But the vulnerability thing, just to circle back to that for a minute, like, the podcast doesn't, I find it feels like a teaching platform for me, or like just a way to, encourage and inspire others to find themselves and to be who they are. That doesn't feel as vulnerable to me, but I will tell you the book that I'm writing, dang, if that isn't surprisingly vulnerable. I don't know why. I don't know what's different about it. Like it's technically not, but there's something about trying to zip it all up into a book and still go to the deep depths of things. And to really be okay with putting that out there for it to, I don't know, it feels different in print for some reason. I don't really know why. Like that's very strange because it's not, how is this different? But this feels super comfortable to me.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, when I'm writing stuff down, I don't know if you're this way, but I will agonize over the words even more so than I do in conversation.
Well, that's fair because you can revisit them easier.
Right. So it feels like, in my mind, the words I type go under a lot more scrutiny than the words I say. And I don't really know if that's actually true or not.
Yeah,
but
that's interesting. I'm definitely a human where if I say something and it doesn't feel aligned or if it feels a little off, I will like revisit that over and over and over again. Like, I can't believe I said that, or I didn't mean it that way, or oh my gosh, I hope they didn't take it that way. And I do that less now because I feel like I'm more intentional about how I speak and how I show up. But I guess that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to go back and re-listen to every podcast and hang on all my words and say, oh my gosh, you could have said that better. Mm-hmm. But if I'm writing something, you can be damn sure I'm going to go back and read it over and over and over again and change it 16 times. And,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Actually, how is the job going? Can I just ask that question?
Yeah. It's going good. I like the work I'm doing. Some of it more than others. Some of it is pretty like rote and repetitive. But like when I'm actually doing, like thinking about things and, so I'm a tester. I test a medical device. And my favorite part about the job is writing the test plans, coming up with the tests, and like thinking about, and then like going through the data at the end and trying to draw conclusions off of it. And like that stuff is like really cool. Like I feel like a mini scientist. And honestly, this job is kind of making me realize like I really want to just be a scientist. Or, something to that effect. And I think, so I've been sort of thinking about like, what's my path towards that now, if that really is something I want to go into. But yeah, I think it feels like a great place to start. I'm getting more comfortable with the people I'm working with too. That's the hardest part for me is the people. Not because there's anything bad about, like, not because they're bad or anything, just because they're new and new people are scary for me. But I like the team I work with in particular a lot, and I'm getting more comfortable with everyone else too. So yeah, I think it's going good. My boss likes me. I like my boss. I've made friends. Yeah.
That's awesome. Does this job give you an opportunity to morph into a more scientific role? I don't know if that's the right way to ask it, but
yeah, I think so. I mean, within the company, I think there are positions I could do. Positions I could move into where I would have more of that, like, scientific role of actually, with more of a focus on coming up with the tests and making the decision and like, thinking about things as a scientist. Right now I'm more of like a research assistant, maybe, in the metaphor, where I'm sort of the one performing a lot of the things, and then occasionally get to give input and come up with stuff for the tests themselves. Yeah, so there's definitely places I could go within the company, and then also I think having experience in a position as a tester is part of the pathway to, at least if I stay in industry, if I stay in like the business world as opposed to academia, then I think this could help me get a sort of scientific position. And if not, I think just the experience is good for, like, if I decide I want to go back to school and like go into academia, I think this would be good for that too. So yeah, I don't know. I'm it's ever since sort of realizing that I don't want to be a teacher, or at least I don't think I do. I've sort of, the world has opened up to a lot more possibilities, and it's fun to be in this exploration stage, at least for now. So
yeah, I love seeing you in the exploration stage. It was kind of fun to hear you say you said something along the lines of like, it's made me realize I think I want to be a scientist. And like you had bubbly in your voice. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like there was like a passion there that I haven't heard in a little while. And it's like, my boy's smiling from the inside out, which is like, isn't that the goal of life? But that was kind of a beautiful thing to see. And not to say that you didn't ever have that with your other choices with where you were going, but there was kind of a time in there where that sort of dwindled a bit, and to hear that bubble back up in your voice of like, gosh, this is actually fun and leading me to other ideas of other things I might want to explore. I think that's beautiful. And I don't know, it takes courage to explore like that. And I think it's really cool that you're inviting yourself to do that. And who knows where it goes, you know?
Yeah, I'm excited.
You said super quick. You said when we very first got on that you had gone to a party.
Yes.
How because people, I will say, and I'm not like, my observation as your mother, people has kind of always been the biggest challenge for you. Like really, if I had to put it in a nutshell, and somebody made me pick one thing that was like Andrew's biggest challenge, I would say it would be people. Not that you're not good with people. I don't mean it like that, but like a lot of people is hard for you to drop into a room and be with a lot of people. So when you said you went to a party, I was like, ooh, tell me more. Like, that's exciting. That feels like a little bit outside of what Andrew would normally choose.
Yeah, and it was a graduation party of sorts for some of my friends. Actually, in the cohort of teachers that I was a part of, I'm still friends with them, and we will hang out from time to time. So it was a good mix of people I already knew well, people I had met before, and then a few people I hadn't met before. And I think having the people who I knew there really helped. I mean, it's just, you know,
Yeah,
it was in a place I had been to before. It was and I'm comfortable in you know, my friend's apartment, and it was in you know, with friends who I knew already, and yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Well, I just want to say thank you. I mean, really, truly, thank you again for diving into this adventure with me. I had no idea what I was doing. I have no idea where you were at with regard to recording and editing a podcast, but I've really enjoyed the playfulness and the exploration, and yeah, it means a lot. And I know it's a farewell, not a goodbye, and that you'll be back on occasion. I'm going to miss our weekly. But also I am excited for you and all the changes and exciting things that are happening in your world. And I'm honored to be your mom and grateful to be part of it in any way it aligns. So I just think I think it's pretty exciting, and you're at an exciting time of life. And I don't know, I say that and then right instantly I'm like, gosh, when I was 23, it was an exciting time of life, but it was also a hell of a roller coaster. Like, I had really big ups and really big downs, and that's how my world worked. And you may or may not be there. I don't know. I reflect back and it's cool and exciting and challenging, and I don't know. I think it's neat. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too, and like what everything you're doing with this podcast, with and without me. Like, it is, I thank you for, you know, picking up the torch of the pieces that I was a part of and taking over editing and all that. Like, you very well could have made this a lot harder for me than it has been, and I know that it is hard for you to not do that. So thank you. But yeah, I'm excited to see where you go next.
Yeah, me too. And I'm the same for you. I'm excited to see where you go next, and I'm excited to see where we go next. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, what do you think? Is that a wrap for today?
I think so.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for today. Bye. Be you every day.
Bye.